Hello Year 10. Today we are going to be learning about linear equations that involve more complex fractions, but as is our tradition, a couple of revision questions first. And last lesson we were doing inequations. So let's solve the first one. The first thing to do is to minus the 4 from both sides, which will leave minus 3x is greater than minus 2 minus 4 is minus 6. Then dividing by the negative 3, you'll get x is less than, so when you divide by a negative, you turn the sign around, x is less than 2. We're not asked to sketch this, so you can just leave the solution like that. On to question 2. We have pronumerals on both sides, so let's subtract the 8x, moving it over to the left-hand side. 5 minus 8 is minus 3x, plus the 2 is greater than or equal to negative 4. Okay, then solving, let's minus 2, and we get minus 3x is greater than or equal to minus 6. And then dividing by negative 3, we'll have to turn the sign around again. So that will be x is less than or equal to 2. They almost had the same answer. Okay, new questions. Ones with more complicated fractions. So we're not solving equations, we're just practicing simplifying fractions by finding a lowest common denominator. So that's here in the remember the following. If you're wanting to add fractions together, you have to find the lowest common denominator first and then combine the numerators. And it says solving linear equations can involve multiplying by the lowest common denominator of fraction. So question 1, we're just simplifying, and then we'll move into some equations after that. Okay, so I have a 3 and a 2 on the bottom of these first fractions. To get a common denominator, I'm going to multiply them together. 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, so that's my common denominator. But if I change my denominators, it means I also have to change my numerators. So the 2 from here is going to multiply to the top of that fraction to be 2 bracket x plus 1. And the 3 is going to multiply to the top of that one. So plus 3 bracket x minus 2. Then all I do is expand and simplify the top. So 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 1 is 2. Plus, expanding the 3, we get 3x minus 6 over 6. Collecting like terms on the top, we have 2x plus 3x makes 5x, and 2 minus 6 makes minus 4, all over 6. Question B. Just be careful of minus signs, and I'll show you why. But otherwise, the setting out of this question is the same as what we did in A. 2 and 5 on the bottom, the first thing I'm going to do is times those together to make a 10. And then the 5 is going to multiply to the top of the first fraction. And the 2 is going to multiply to the top of that one. But this is the catch. If you try to skip too many steps when you do this, the biggest mistake that people make is that they forget to take the minus and expand it through that second bracket. And when I do that, so the correct answer when I do it is 15x minus 10 minus 2x plus 4, because minus times a minus makes a plus. The most common mistake I would get is that people would put a minus there and forget to expand the minus through. Okay, so collecting like terms. 15 minus 2 is 13x, minus 10 plus 4 is minus 6, all over 10. Okay, so that's just simplifying fractions, and then you can see in question 2 we now have our equations slipping in. So if it is one fraction on the left and one fraction on the right, we can cross multiply. The 4 multiplies to the top of this, and the 3 multiplies to the top of that. Then the fractions are gone, and we can expand and solve normally. So 4 times 2 is 8x, 4 times minus 1, then 3 times x, and 3 times 3 is 9. Then, getting the pronumerals on the left, I'm going to subtract 3x to get 5x minus 4 equals, they cancel off, so I get minus 9. Then I will add 4 to get 5x equals minus 5, and divide by 5 to get x equals minus 1. Okay, let's try another one, B. Now, in A, I had one fraction on either side, so I could cross multiply. But in B, while I still have two fractions, both of those fractions are on the same side, and then I have this annoying 2 that's over on the other side of the equation. So you cannot cross multiply if your equation is in this form. Instead, I suggest a second strategy, which is to multiply the whole equation through by the lowest common denominator. You can't do that in these fractions here because it's not an equation. You can't just multiply stuff randomly in. But when it's an equation, you can randomly multiply through by the lowest common denominator and it will get rid of all of your fractions for you. So 2 and 3 are my denominators. The lowest thing I could multiply by would be 6. So actually, I'm going to write that a bit different. I'm going to go 6 times by that, and 6 times by that, and 6 times by that. By writing it like a fraction, the 6 over 2 will make a 3x plus 1. And then the second fraction, 6 over 3 makes a minus 2, like that. And 2 times 6 is 12. The fractions are gone, and that's wonderful. Now we can expand and solve. So 3x plus 3 minus 4x plus 2 equals 12. 3 minus 4x is minus x. 3 plus 2 makes 5 equals 12. Then we're going to minus the 5. Minus x equals 7. And then dividing by negative 1, or moving the minus across, we just get x equals minus 7. Okay, how about some messy fractions with an inequality? Still works. Let's use the same strategy. 5 and 3 on the bottom, I'm going to multiply through by 15. So the 15 divided by 5 makes 3 lots of x minus 4. And 15 divided by 3 makes 5 lots of x plus 2 is less than minus 4 times 15 is minus 60. Okay, expand and simplify. So 3x minus 12 minus 5x minus 10 is less than minus 60. 3x minus 5x is minus 2x. Minus 12 minus 10 is minus 22, less than minus 60. Add the 22. So that's minus 2x is less than minus 38. And then dividing by negative 2 means we must remember to turn the sign around. Minus 38 divided by minus 2 is a positive 19. Okay, fun times. Now, if I'm going to give a question a star, that would be this one. This would be my hardest type of question for the day because I have an equation with 3 fractions in it, plus an extra number, so 4 terms, all different denominators. What fun. So the strategy that I've been using still works no matter how many fractions you have. If you can multiply through by the lowest common denominator, you can get rid of all those fractions. So 3, 4, and 2, the lowest common denominator. Now 4 and 2, don't really worry about the 2 because 2 goes into 4. So let's just worry about the 3 and the 4, which means 12 would be the number to multiply by. So let's go. Let's multiply this by 12. Let's multiply this by 12. Let's multiply this by 12. And multiply this by 12. So 4 terms multiplied by 12 in the 4 different places. So 12 divided by 3 is 4 lots of the 4 minus 2x. 12 divided by 4 is going to be 3 lots of just the 5x. 12 divided by 2 is going to be 6 lots of 3x plus 1, and 2 times 12 is 24. Okay, so the fractions are gone. That's a good start. If we expand out the brackets, it's going to get even nicer. 4 times 4 is 16, minus 8x. 3 times 5 is minus 15x. 3 times 6 is 18x, plus 6 equals 24. Collecting like terms, we have minus 8 plus 15, so, sorry, not plus 15, minus 15. Minus 8 minus 15, so that's minus 23, plus 18 makes minus 5x. Then we also have 16 plus 6, which is a plus 22, equals 24. Okay, now solving. Minus 22 minus 5x equals 2. And then divide minus 5. X equals minus 2 over 5. Okay, it's time for you to have some fun with exercise 1D.